Okay, so now that we have our carb taken out, sitting as is, pretty dirty, you look at it, got your choke controls, and so now we have to tear it down, make sure this O-ring's still in here. Some people believe that you should replace this when you take it off, but as long as your O-ring's not damaged or hanging out or starting to get crushed, it should be good as is. So the first thing, I keep a container on my bench just full of towels, little garage trash can, and there's going to be a lot of gas coming out of your float bowl, so I just drain it into this and it's good to go. So first thing, all the drain lines, some carbs have two, we'll take them off. Then you want to turn it upside down, you'll get some leaking out just as drain plugs. And if you look at it, mine has 3 screws, some have 2. If you look at it a little bit closer, they're all spread apart. And your screwdrivers obviously vary, and so you're just going to take these little screws out one at a time. It's almost pretty essential to remember which one goes where, depending on your model, so I just set them out on my bench in which order they come out in, and so and here comes the last one. As you can see, the gas is still flowing just right out of here. And as soon as you crack that last screw on the float, it'll just drain out and right out of the top. So you get your last screw out here and set it out. You want to take your float bowl out nice and straight. Here's your float bowl. It's got your straw, your drain straw. It comes out your little area there. This needs to be cleaned. Once again, if your O-ring is torn, set out of place, falling out, you might want to replace that. Your local bike shop that sells Honda parts might have that. You just set that out of the way here. And here's where it becomes complicated. And if you turn it back over, you can get all the gas out. And here's where it's kind of hard to follow along. Okay, so first thing is that there might be a little dish ring on the top of your carb here. It's just pretty small. Set that aside. Remember which way it came off. And then you have your floats here. This regulates how much fuel is in your carb and how much fuel it should let in. And so this is, I didn't really include this in what you need, but I just found a nail, and there's a little pin that connects it here on the outer side. You can see where the pin comes in here, and you just push that little pin out, pick it out the other side, and your float will drop down. So you keep this pin nice and safe, set it down wherever you're working. You can pick out your floats. Make sure that this little doohickey pin does not fall off. You can lean it, set it down somewhere, and now you have the main parts of your carb open. So you have your 2 jets, large jet and small jet. These get plugged, so if you have this popping noise when you lay on the throttle, that's probably what it is. And we'll just clean this out. This is where your fuel from your gas tank comes in. We'll clean that out, and we'll clean out this bowl, make sure everything's running okay, and then I'll show you how to put it back on. Okay, so first things first, like I said, I thought mine was a 9 millimeter. Some don't have this wrench top option. You just unscrew your jet here. Unbolt your jet. This is the top part of the jet. That's not really, has to come apart from the other one, so I'll screw that back in. As long as there's no large obstructions in there, which usually doesn't happen. The next one is, I guess it's not a 9 millimeter. Not even close. So next part is that you have to get this bottom part of your jet out. And in some of the smaller models, like I do work on an XR80 1996 model. It only has one part to this large jet, but it's still the same process to clean it out. I'll find a wrench for that and get back to that. Okay, now that we have I found the right wrench, and this top jet just comes, the full large jet just comes right out. Screw it out. It's full of these little pins on the side here, if you can see. These are what get plugged up. So you take your carbon choke cleaner here. I have actually a straw. This makes it a lot easier. And you take your jet and you just flush it out with this stuff. I'm gonna do it in my mini trash can. And you spray it out over, make sure everything's kind of clean. Drip that off. And you look through your carb, and if you can blow through it, you can be able to look through this through the light, and as long as it's clear and you can't see any dirt, any instructions there, and none through all these little pinholes, then you should be good. And so you can just take this, I give it a little squirt down through the large carb area. It'll come out this side or this side, whatever it is. Screw your carb, a large jet back in like a straw. Make sure that's tight. Not completely tight, don't over tighten it, you might crack your block. Next thing is that your little jet, located right behind the large jet, mine's a screw top, most of them are. You can just unscrew this one here. This one's a lot easier. After you get this unscrewed, you can do the same thing you did with the large jet. Flush it out with some carbon choke cleaner. And make sure none of the holes are blocked. Everything's clear. Everything's clean. You can screw that back in there. And after this is all nice and tight in there, yet again not too tight, we can start flushing out our bowl and I guess the upper bowl. That's what I'll call it. Now that's nice and tight there. Here's your main drain from your fuel line into the carb. So sometimes this gets plugged up, so just give it a little squirt in there. Give it a little clean out, let it drip out. I guess this is what I call the upper bowl. It's not that it affects performance-wise. Just clean it out a little bit. Spray it in there, let it soak. Sometimes if these jets have an obstruction and they you can't just blow it out, you want to take your lower bowl and fill it up with carbon choke cleaner and then set them in there and let it soak for a little bit. Since now that we sprayed this out here, just dump that a little bit there. And the next part is that you have to clean your float bowl, and this is quite simple. You just spray it out, make sure there's no dirt, no nasty stuff. Just clean it out a little bit. If you want to spray the rim around here of your O-ring, keeps it a little bit moist. Your fluid, I'll just dump that out there. And next part is that this is kind of optional, but I clean the outside of my carb with carbon choke cleaner. Kind of funny. It just gets some of the dirt and some of the grime that just won't come off when you wash it normally. The all-important shop towels. Clean out my bench here a little bit. And now that's clean. You have your upper bowl. That's clean. Next part is that You just spray out this little tubular area, and you can look at it. This is your throttle adjustment. It's different on each bike. I mean, on each carb, depending on how big your bike is. And so I just spray this out here. Get this side with the we'll call it the paddle here. Clean that out. There's these little straws which take in air. Clean that out. And then here's your throttle slide area. That's where your throttle goes into your bike. Just regulates the flow of gasoline and air through your engine. Okay, now that that's clean, I'm gonna spray off the top of the carb, just like I did the bottom part. Just clean it up a little bit. I noticed there was some dirt there. Now that that's clean, I'm gonna wipe off my bench again. I'm making a mess. Clean that up a little bit. Okay. Now, since this is all clean, we can start putting it back together again, just how it came apart. So you make sure your jets are tight. Take your floats. You can clean your floats off, but there's really not much on the floats usually. If I were you, I'd just spray it off with carbon choke cleaner. Clean it up. Set it right back down in here. This little pin again sets right back down in that hole. Take your pin that holds it up, stick it back through. Make sure it's flush on either side, and your floats just kind of dangle there. My O-rings are all nice and good, so I don't need to replace those, so I can just put that back on there. Remember this dish cup right here? Remember how you stuck it on there? Mine's like that. Some of these don't have dish cups. Smaller models, XR80 doesn't have one. Put it back on here. Remember, this is kind of an 80s, 90s model, not a dual carb. So now you can just screw all these back in, just how it came apart, and make sure everything's tight, everything's moving smoothly, everything's clean, everything is, I guess, trail ready. Okay, now that we have our carb all nice and clean here, we can get it back on the bike here. Everything pretty painless. It's not really much that can go wrong. I mean, at least in my opinion. Oh crap, shouldn't do that. Okay, we'll just get it set back on there. Some people say that you should take this out and clean it and make sure it's all set to the right way and crap. I don't adjust it because it doesn't affect my bike that much, cleaning it, so it's not really something essential. If you need to know that information, there's some other videos on YouTube that show that. And then we're ready to go put it back on our bike.